Brighten up those dark mornings. Wheeler, Ollie, and Lekter. Mornings at the Cabin.
Mornings at the Cabin is what we call this show, and Ollie and Wheeler are what we call ourselves. Or I call him Ollie, he calls me Wheeler. We don't call each other that because that would be wrong and backwards. He's not Wheeler, I'm not Ollie. I'm not British, he's not whatever the hell I am. Mornings at the Cabin. Happy Friday.
I wonder what life would be like as you.
It's not great. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I've done pretty well for myself. I've got a wonderful partner. I've got a great dog. I live in a house that I don't like, that I'm renting for too much money.
So like 7 out of 10?
I mean, like, compared, like, say, relatively speaking to, like, 3 billion other people.
Well, like 10 is the maximum.
Fully 20 out of 10.
20 out of 10.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
But
that's how you should start a Friday.
Well, I
Feeling
started
like
the Friday that way. Here, we got to the 20 out of 10 part.
Perfect.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
I wasn't starting on a down note.
No.
I said that your name isn't Wheeler.
Just checking in with you.
My name's not Ollie.
20 out of 10 is good.
Don't check in with me. I hate it when people check in.
I'm like an 18.
Yeah. You're an 18?
Out of 10.
You feel like you're 18? Do you feel like you're 18?
I didn't feel like I was 18 when I was 18.
I didn't feel like I was 18 when I was 18. I don't think you have any conception of what you feel like when you're 18.
I was mid-60s then, and it's sort of been a downward slope.
That's right.
I'm kind of like mid-40s now, and I'm sort of looking forward to maybe eventually reaching some sort of 20s.
I'm not even sure 18's an age anymore. It's just like you're a teenager from 13 to 20. And then after that, it's college, I guess. I don't know. I didn't go to college for that long. No.
Yeah, popped in, popped out.
Popped in, popped out, did a bunch of theater, went to private acting classes, and now I'm here.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast.
Long John Jamboree Friday. Get excited! It's done today. Well, it's not done. It's down today. At noon, it starts at the Fieldhouse parking lot. Some of you have a half day off. Some of you are wishing you had a half day off. And some of you are just finding out about Long Jamboree right now. We're going to be down there.
Are we taking a half day off?
Yes.
Officially?
I'll meet you guys down there after my second half of my workday ends. I'm going to take this half of the day off, though. You guys talk.
You're taking this off right now?
Right now.
Okay.
I can deal with that. So, yeah, I actually kind of am having this afternoon off in a sort of working sense.
Okay.
That's not an afternoon off.
Well, that's an afternoon off for
how
Ollie.
Off time works.
I'm down at dog sledding at Dog Wishing, so filming for them. So that's going to be pretty cool. They've changed the route this year.
All right, Karine. Thank you. Karine just arrived in the studio and bumped the desk and the microphone. Hi, Karine.
She's feeling shy.
They've changed the route this year so that you can see all of the different races as much as possible from the ice road.
Nice.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
So going to be down there this afternoon, and between like 1 and 2 is a really good time to be down there because that's when the main like 10 dog races start. And you go around Back Bay first, and then they come back and they cross the ice road probably about 45 minutes after they start. So theoretically, around 1:45, 2 o'clock, you should get a bunch of really good action of seeing the 10 dog teams come by over the ice road crossing. So that is my tip for the day. Wonderful. And then I would race over from that at like 2:30, 3 o'clock and go check out the seal showcase.
Yes.
At the Jamboree.
Very cool. I loved the video yesterday, the seal cooking. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, so they had 2 workshops yesterday. One was that one where they had local chefs working with the guy from Toronto who has Kukum Kitchen. Mm-hmm. And then there was an arts workshop as well in terms of learning to work with seal as an art design product. And
driving Southerners crazy. Just the Vancouverites looking at this going, this is murder.
I was going to say, are we going to stage some protests to make the guy from Toronto feel at home?
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Just go.
It's like I never left. This is nice.
His restaurant is super controversial. If you just look up the name of the restaurant.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I remember the story.
Like 3 dozen news articles.
Are they still getting like daily protests down there? Probably. Just idiots.
Go ask him this afternoon. Carry a placard that says, "Are you getting daily protests?" Question mark.
Exactly.
Yes or no.
Yes or no. Seal the deal. Oh, Toronto and Vancouver have the most woke racists. Long John Jamboree. Also, head down between 12 and 1 before the dog sledding. There's going to be a meet and greet with the dogs and possibly some autograph sessions. Is that true? Wait, did I make that up?
I was actually getting excited for that for a second.
Just paw prints.
Would that be cool?
That would be great.
Totally
They should do that. They should They should do that.
You take a little program for the event down. You get to put in that's your favorite dog team, and every dog goes, yeah, that's me.
I feel like it's not dignified for the dogs.
Not dignified?
The dogs are like, do we have to do another one of these?
Send Penny in and let her get some photos with her heroes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Now we have a plan for the afternoon.
Yeah.
Now we got an afternoon show. We got Penny down there with all the big boys. That'd be awesome.
Oh, suddenly when a cute idea comes up, you're okay with overusing Penny.
If it's a good idea. You can't just plaster her face everywhere. That's manipulation.
Oh.
Or something. The full schedule of events at Long John Jamboree's Facebook page. Tonight, all that stuff going on this afternoon. The seals demonstration. They're showing how to sew it, how to eat it. All kinds of things going on. And, of course, food vendors down there as well. All kinds of food. And Priscilla's Revenge takes the stage at 8 o'clock. And then I'm being told that there's already a correction. Houseman is not from 10 to 11. It says that Welder's Daughter is going to be from 10 to midnight or something. I don't know. It's
corrections in real time.
Corrections in real time. It's right here on the Facebook thread. Patrick Jacobson and Welder's Daughter and Houseman also playing tonight. Go to Long John Jamboree Facebook page to check out the full schedule and get excited about some of these events.
Mornings at the Cabin, the podcast, where we cut out all the great music and you're left with the rest.
Coming up next week, is it next week? 2 weeks from now.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I don't know what you're talking about either. The Common Strippers, a male stripper parody and improv comedy show coming to NAC April 12th and the 13th. They've been in touch, and we did a little interview with them while Karine did. Yeah. We'll play a little bit of that out, but let's talk about this show for a second.
Okay.
Because we got the email from them.
And you know a few of these guys, right?
Yeah, I know a couple of them. And not like we ran in the same circles in Vancouver, but David Milchard, who we've been in touch with, who seems to be kind of the leader of this group, was on a show on YouTube called Conversations with My 2-Year-Old, which got like a ton of hits when it first came out. Like, I think the first episode has over 15 million hits or something like that.
Wow.
So basically what he did, he and a guy I went to school with in Calgary wrote a show based on what his 2-year-old would say to him. So David Milchard plays the 2-year-old, but he's a grown man with 5 o'clock shadow, but he's doing the lines of a 2-year-old.
Lovely.
It is delightful. Now, I think they've done 4 or 5 seasons of this, and they've turned it into a few other things as well. But so I knew his writing partner, and then Roman Danilo is in it as well, who's been around forever in Canadian comedy, been around for decades. I'll say 2. But
2 decades.
Probably 3.
Wow.
I don't know how old he is. And then a couple of other guys, one of the other guys I knew through a friend who used to do improv down in the West End in Vancouver, and he was there every week, and we had a couple of beers together one time. But not really know them. Right. But it was kind of cool to see. Like when I saw the lineup, I was like, oh, yeah, these guys are awesome.
Yeah.
Because you never know what's going to come into your email. People think we're a restaurant. People think we're a restaurant.
Yep.
People think we might possibly be some other sort of office. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was kind of cool to see that there's a couple people that I kind of know in there, and they are very funny. Mm-hmm. These are very funny people, and this is going to be a very, very funny show. And they are actually giving away some tickets as well. They've put up their own post on Facebook. We'll share that this morning, and people could win some tickets to that. We don't have any tickets to give away.
We don't.
No.
Currently, no.
But I think maybe we'll try to get our hands on some. But you can go to nacnt.ca for tickets as well. This is something a little different for NAC, I feel like, right?
Is it?
An improv show? I can't remember the last time there was an improv show at NAC.
Yeah, I guess I can't remember. Yeah, the last time
kind
there
of
was one either.
A broad comic improv show.
Yeah.
Right? They don't have a lot of... NAC is doing a wonderful job. They don't usually have broad things, like broadly entertaining things.
Right.
But they have very specific things that are very, very cool, and they bring up talented people all the time, and this is no different.
Right.
It's just it's a stripper show.
Yeah, it'll be interesting definitely to see something new. I've never been to an improv show myself.
Oh my God.
So it'll be what?
You're from Winnipeg, man.
So?
There's a very vibrant improv and comedy scene in Winnipeg.
And I didn't support them. What's your problem?
You've never been to one improv show?
No.
None?
No.
They're
not one.
wonderful. Well, They can be wonderful.
Well, and that's kind of what I figured. There's improv is one of those things I kind of thought it could be very hit or miss.
This is the thing about improv. What most people know about improv is whose lines is it anyway,
Right.
Which is theater sports, which is fine.
Yeah.
But like theater sports games, those are fine, and they make for kind of an easy kind of. They're very accessible,
Right.
Right, because it's like take this pop culture thing and kind of make it into like something that's a little bit more relatable. That's a lot of theater games are like that. Like, oh, you're like, for example, like an interview game where like you have a famous person and the people who are interviewing doing the improv have to guess who that person is by the answers to their questions. So they ask random questions and the improviser comes up with something and they have to guess who they are.
Yes.
Stuff like that.
Scenes from a hat.
Scenes from a hat.
Yeah.
There's Scenes from a Hat. There's the party game. All these games that we know from Whose Line Is It Anyway.
Right.
But there's a whole other thing about improv where it's like long form improv where you're telling like a narrative over 20 minutes, half an hour long things. There's things called Heralds and Lurons where they do like a lot of different improvisers on stage trying to tell one story and keeping a thread going for a very long time. So there's a lot more to improv than just those things. So if you went to improv shows, you'd see more of that than you would just theater games.
Right.
So most people know improv as theater games, but improv can be a lot more. And it is very hit and miss sometimes. Yeah. Depending on, right? But I mean, these guys like Roman Danilo and he would put on basically amateur nights in the West End. And he did
Amateur improv night.
Yeah, they would have classes.
Cool.
And then they'd invite people out to do some shows. You go pay $5. And I used to watch a bunch of my friends do this every week.
Right.
And you pay like $5 or $10 and you go down and you support them. And then if someone did really well, they'd invite them for the main show.
Right.
So like, oh, you did well. A couple people did well. We're going to invite you into the main show after this show.
Okay.
And they basically just try to teach and try to break people. And it was great.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It seems like it's almost more of like an educational thing, like a training thing, essentially, than like any sort of like polished product. Obviously not with the comic strippers here. This is a show that they've been doing for quite a while now.
Yes.
But yeah, improv as a concept kind of seems like the kind of thing where it's like, this is more of a training exercise.
It can be,
for theater.
absolutely. And improv is used in acting training as well. There's stuff called Meisner uses a lot of improv as well. And improv is incredibly important to an actor to be able to stay free and loose and like kind of keep the ideas flowing is a very, very important skill. So improv, it can be used a lot in training. Like when I was doing acting classes for kids, we would do improv all the time. Some classes would just be all improv. Let's just keep doing it. And the ideas that start coming out of these kids' heads once they start kind of letting their guard down is very, very cool. And that's kind of the magic of improv, is just like seeing something that you didn't know was there kind of come out of someone. Yeah.
So Karine spoke with David from the Comic Strippers the other day.
Yeah.
One really funny thing I'll mention before we play the audio is that we kind of threw her under the bus a little bit. We were like, hey, you're interviewing these guys. Here you go. She looked at a picture, saw the promo picture for the Comic Strippers, and was like, okay. Yeah, let's see how this goes. But then she turns it around and throws us under the bus.
That's what I heard.
For throwing her under the bus. It's pretty fantastic.
Awesome. So here's some audio from Karine talking with David Milchard about the Comic Strippers, a male stripper parody and improv comedy show that is at NAC next weekend, nacnt.ca for tickets. Here you go.
The Comic Strippers, it's turned into quite the successful comedy tour that we kind of all came up with about 6 years ago. Okay. We do improv comedy. We're a parody of male strippers who want to get more respect, and they think that doing improv comedy is the way to do it. But when the music plays, we have to dance. So it's the best adjective is it's ridiculously funny. So that's two adjectives.
They actually threw this on me because I'm the intern, and they were like, yeah, you're going to be interviewing these people. And then I looked you guys up, and I was like, this looks really interesting.
Wait a second, you're an intern?
Yeah, I am, yes.
Are you 19 plus?
I am. Yeah, I'm 25.
Okay, good. That's because our show is 19 plus.
Yeah. No, you're good. You're good.
Okay, just trying to be responsible and respectful in our current climate.
So where did this idea come from?
Well, there's kind of a few different stories. I don't remember it as well as everybody else, but Roman, sort of our chip leader, as we call him, his wife, I guess, had recently gone to a Thunder from Down Under or some other form of male stripping. And she found it to be quite funny as opposed to sexy.
Right.
And of course, she knows that we all do improv comedy, and she kind of was saying, I wonder if there's a show there. And then they talked about it. And then Roman weirdly was like, asked one of our other friends, Chris, hey, let's do this 2-man improv show. We'll pretend we're strippers with our shirts off. And we did it at our local theater, the Vancouver Theatre Sports League, in Granville Island on Granville Island in Vancouver, BC. And that was the start of it, in front of 30 people. And now we do it in front of 1,000 people sometimes.
How long have you been doing this show for?
This show, I want to say it's 6 years now. We've been doing it for 6 years. We've been running around with our shirts off for 6 years. I've seen my friends' upper torsos far too much.
So, what are people's reactions to the show?
Well, overall, obviously, the fact that we're still touring and the fact that we do 500, 600, 700, 800 seat theaters, people seem to like it. But I do think sometimes when people first come, they're not really sure what to expect. Right. What is this crazy? The comic strippers and improv parody of male stripping? What is this? So I think they're kind of unsure. But within 5 minutes, everybody's like, oh, I see what they're doing. And it's just, a roller coaster of fun after that. There's been a few people every now and then be like, we thought this was going to be real stripping. And we were like, how would you ever think that in the first 60 seconds of watching us come out on stage?
Karine, well done.
Good job, Karine.
Also, for throwing us under the bus, you are now fired. But it's been a great run. Let's pour one out for Karine.
Fired, and simultaneously, I think her performance review went up slightly.
Did it?
Yeah, I think so.
That was pretty good.
You can't do that very often.
You can't go up in people's estimation by throwing them under the bus very often. But here we are.
Here you can.
We definitely threw her to the wolves on that one. Well, not really. I mean, David seems very nice guy.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
I would have one question about that interview if I was to follow up with David, and that being, and he wouldn't have the answer to this, but I'm just wondering how a show billed as Thunder from Down Under could ever be thought of as sexy.
That stuff is incredibly popular. Incredibly popular. There are people who fly down to Edmonton to see that show when it's in town.
Thunder from Down Under?
And then they have a show in Vegas.
Really?
Thunder from Down Under. Yeah, it's supposed to be a bunch of Aussies. Yeah, and it's just male strippers, man. And I'm sorry if you've been to a strip club. I'm not going to out you here. I think you've been to a strip club before in your life. I have as well. And it's a different kind of crowd. When it's male strippers, it is nuts. It is nuts. It's the loudest, craziest thing I've ever seen. I worked at a theater, and next door was a place called Aussie Rules, and they used to have live piano, but one time they did have a male strip show, and I've never heard anything like that before in my life. The screaming, the laughter, the clawing.
And unsurprisingly, there within lies a comedy show.
Yes, very much so. Looking forward to seeing it April 12th and 13th at NAC. Go to nacnt.ca for tickets. The Comic Strippers, a male stripper parody and improv comedy show coming up. I think it sounds awesome.
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast.
You found something very interesting, and I find this very interesting as well because I love dinosaurs. I love them. And the world's the biggest ever T-Rex on record was found in Saskatchewan. And, you share something with this Tyrannosaurus.
I never thought I would share something in common with a T-Rex,
That's
being
right.
my long, gangly arms as they are.
That's right.
But his name is Scotty.
Scotty?
Yeah.
Why'd they name him Scotty?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's good.
They don't really explain
No,
that.
they don't. They're just like, it's Scotty. And that's the entire break. T-Rex named Scotty, biggest ever.
Biggest ever found, 19,500 pounds.
That,
according to National Geographic.
is a huge skeleton. Obviously, the skeletons at this point are fossilized and have turned into rock.
Yes.
But is that a fairly intact skeleton? Is that what they're showing?
It's not the most intact skeleton.
Oh, I think Sue. Yeah, I was going to say Sue in Chicago is the most intact one they've ever found.
Yeah, they 90% of Sue's body was unearthed, or her fossil.
That's huge.
They've recovered about 65% of Scotty.
All right, but judging from thigh bones or rib bones or whatever, or vertebrae, they can guesstimate his size to be bigger than Sue.
Yeah,
and Sue is enormous. What do you have some dimensions there as to how big Scotty's going to be?
Let's see here. How big is Scotty?
65 meters long, 45 feet tall.
No.
I mix meters and feet.
But something that is really interesting, Scotty has been known to scientists since 1991.
Because they probably virtually scanned the area. They just haven't gotten to it yet.
And it's taken this long to dig Scotty up.
That's how long archaeology takes, kids. So if you are looking to be an archaeologist, remember that big discoveries take 27 years.
If you want a job for a long time working on one thing.
Not a good time, but a long time. I'm just joking, archaeologists. It's just a trooper joke. That's trooper, right?
That's trooper. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah, very good. Very good.
It's a trooper joke.
So what I'm thinking now that Scotty, the world's largest Tyrannosaurus Rex fossil, has been found in Saskatchewan, archaeologists in Manitoba are feverishly searching for something
for anything
to equal that.
Just anything. Good Lord.
The rivalry continues.
When Saskatchewan's winning.
Saskatchewan
could do nothing.
You won again, Saskatchewan.
Do nothing for the next 100 years and still win. I love Manitoba. Don't get me wrong. I do. I live there. I lived in Winnipeg.
We just don't have very big dinosaurs.
That's right. You don't have the biggest dinosaurs. That's okay, buddy.
We're Dilophosaurus country.
It's not the size that matters. It's how much poison you can spit out of your
That's
face.
right.
Which I don't think Dilophosauruses can do.
They didn't actually do that?
I don't think so. No.
Oh.
There's no proof that. I don't know. There's no evidence.
You're saying Dennis Nedry died for nothing?
For nothing. That's absolutely right. Well, I mean, even in the movie, he dies for nothing. He loses all the samples.
That's true.
Yeah.
Shaving cream everywhere.
Yeah. Dotson. We got Dotson here. See? Nobody cares. Well, congratulations on being the biggest T-Rex ever.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's going to be very
proud.
Interesting to see.
Yeah.
It's been 28 years since they discover him. It'll be another 20 before they unearth it. It's going to be great. I love dinosaurs, and I hope they come alive and eat us all before this thing ends.
What?
The Mornings at the Cabin podcast was recorded before a sort of live, thankfully not in the studio, audience.
This is a sad story, but a tourist died at the Grand Canyon the other day, plunged to their death from a ledge, which can happen. It's a very dangerous place, and most places aren't actually cordoned off in any kind of way. And it happened right around where the that new walk is, the little horseshoe walk that's glass bottom, and you can walk out onto the Grand Canyon.
Right.
Around there are a lot of not very defined edges, right? So it's kind of like you go to the edge and there's a little bit of a drop off, and then you drop right off. Whereas in other places in the Grand Canyon, you can almost sit on it, on the edge, and have your feet dangling above a 500-foot precipice.
Oh, that's terrifying.
This is the second death this week at the Grand Canyon, and this was a tourist who was trying to get a picture and stumbled and fell. And this is what happened earlier in the week as well. Tried to get a picture, stumbled and fell off the edge.
That's becoming so common.
It's very common. 250 people have died taking selfies since 2011.
Yeah.
And that was a report in 2018. So I'm guessing it's gone up since then. And this is the latest data that I have. October, 259 people worldwide have died taking selfies, according to a study published by the Journal of Family Medicine and Primary Care.
Mm-hmm.
So they're just basically telling people to be a little bit more careful.
That's all you can do.
That's all you can do. All you can do. Or you can stop taking selfies. I don't know. Whatever.
Well, it's just, the game has changed.
Yeah.
The stakes are higher than ever before.
That's right. I got to get these likes, baby.
Oh, you got to get that dangerous shot.
That's right. I got to get people to press that little heart button on the Instagram.
Yeah. All for something.
Well, I mean, if China's an example to be followed, social credits.
Social credit, right.
Yeah, you start with 1,000, you do something bad, you lose points. You do something good, and you're seen doing it, you might gain a few.
I feel like dying could damage your social credits.
No, really. I mean,
all right, you know what? Maybe it might help it. I don't know.
You've gone to the great beyond where social credits are limitless. You have endless social credits. We're going to get to that point at some point here in North America.
You can rent any car you want.
I mean, we're kind of already
luxury,
there.
economy.
Luxury, economy, compact, if that's your thing. Maybe a smart car. Anything you want.
Even a hotel room.
A hotel room on wheels. Yeah, no, I mean, we're kind of already there. I mean, there is a lot of seriousness that takes place on like Instagram for followers and things like that. There are people who make livings in basically just being in a swimsuit and having 8 million followers and having comments like, that's a nice butt.
Is team follow back still a thing?
I ain't no follow back girl, Scott.
Well said.
Yeah,
that's all we need to say about that.
That's right. That's why I'm in broadcasting. But I wanted to share with you a story of my past. I've been to the Grand Canyon a couple times. Last time was in 2013. As a matter of fact, Phoenix and I's first date was Vegas and then the Grand Canyon.
Wow.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Huh.
I even cried at the Grand Canyon in front of her, and we'd been dating for about an hour.
Wow.
Yeah, and here we are.
That sounds magical.
It was magical. We watched the sunset at Grand Canyon, and around 8:30, we started driving from the Grand Canyon straight through to Vancouver. That's how that trip went. It was great.
8:30 p.m. You drove all night?
We drove 6,000 kilometers in 4 days.
Oh my God.
We left Thursday evening, got back Tuesday morning at 1:30 in the morning.
Well, if you want a lasting relationship, that's what you got to do to start it off.
It was the crucible. Yeah, that's right. That's right. I mean, we've been living off that for 6 years. Nothing's changed, and it hasn't gotten better. I'm joking, of course. I love you. But I went to the Grand Canyon the first time in 1999. I was at a conference with my dad, and we went to the Grand Canyon because it was 114 degrees in Phoenix. 114 degrees. That's 47 degrees Celsius. Oof. And you go to the Grand Canyon, it's like 75. It's like 18 out there. It's beautiful. Oh. It's like even cool. You have to wear a jacket. Anyway, so there's parts around the main part of the park where there's restaurants and hotels. There's parts around it that have, it's kind of not roped off, but barred off. Mm. And then there's parts where you can just kind of walk down and just kind of get closer to it. And
that surprises me. It's such a main, attraction.
I don't think you can put fence up around everywhere. You
I guess not.
Damage it too much, right? So there's all these places where you can get really close, and then there's some places where you can kind of walk down, and there's like this just a jutting out rock that's over like 1,000-foot drop, and you can sit on it. It's not safe at all. I was 16. I was 16 years old, and I walked right down because I loved to climb rocks when I was younger.
Right.
Still do, can't do it as well, but love to do it. Love to climb rocks around here all the time, and always kind of like find myself kind of putting myself on the edge of something.
Or just being on edge.
Being on edge, sanity-wise. But I walked down to this corner, and it was just like this jutted-out rock that was pointed out, and I put my legs on either side, and I just sat on it, let my legs dangle above this precipice, and thought nothing of it. Really. I was 16. I was just looking at how immense and stupidly beautiful the Grand Canyon is. People call it boring. Those people are dead inside. It is a once in a lifetime, not once in a lifetime, I've been there twice, but it is one of those things that you have to see to know what it's like. I mean, it's just a big crevice in the ground, but it is absolutely stunning.
Yeah, I've still never been.
It's worth it. It is worth it. Absolutely.
Plus 16, you're not afraid of death. You got nothing to worry about.
Still not afraid of death.
Really?
Well, now I am.
Now you made me think about it.
You made me think about it. There was a silence there, and I started thinking about death. So I'm sitting there, and I'm like, I kind of look back, and my dad's behind the cordoned off area, and he told me later that he was very nervous. He did not like that I was down there.
Yeah.
And I know why. But then I got up, and I was like, whatever. And I got up. I had my fill of that
Whatever,
moment.
Dad.
Whatever, Dad. I'm just doing what I want. I'm a man. Anyway, good Lord, this story is taking a long time. And so I got up. I had my fill of the view, and I got up. And as I was bringing myself up to my feet, because like I said, my feet were dangling over the edge.
Right.
I brought my leg around, and as I was bringing my leg around to walk away from the ledge, I caught my foot, the tip of my foot, on the rock and tripped forward.
Oh my!
So I had to catch me falling over forward. Now I would have fallen away from the edge. But mind you, this was a jutted out rock with a drop on either side and in front.
Right.
I would have fallen. I don't know where I would have fallen, but I would have fallen away from the ledge, but still caught myself with my foot.
But not towards safety.
Yeah, not towards safety at all. It wasn't as if like there was just a nice big like blanket there.
Yeah.
Like, here we go. Stopped myself and just kind of hung out there for a second.
developed a fear of death.
Developed a fear of death very quickly, and slowly walked back towards my dad.
Oh, my God.
And my dad was just like, he didn't say anything at the time, but he said later that he was terrified.
That terrifies me just thinking about it.
It was...
Without even being there.
I still have, every once in a while, it'll pop up in a dream. And I'll just be like,
God.
Blah! And I'll wake up and I'm like, oh, God. So I don't want to say I almost died at the Grand Canyon, but I almost fell into the Grand Canyon. And then when I went back in 2013 with Phoenix, did the exact same thing. Didn't trip, but went right down to the edge and sat there and watched the sunset. And if you ever get a chance to watch the sunset at the Grand Canyon, you will not be annoyed by it.
Thanks for listening. Check out more from the show at cabinradio.ca.